Hello, everyone.
Hey.
Welcome to the Patch Game Club. This week's game, Gone Home.
Yes.
I feel like it's very important to preface before we go any further that there will be spoiler discussion and talk about
Spoiler show.
the ending
Hard
of
not
the
to
game.
be in this game.
So, yeah, just because I feel like this game is very unique in that aspect. So if you have any interest in playing the game at some point, I would recommend you not watch this video.
Go play it and then come back.
Go play it and then come
Not
back.
something
Yeah.
we often do, but
Yeah.
just go play the game and then come back, join us for the discussion.
And very important in regards to this game, more so than a lot of the others, because it's really like, it's a 2-hour block of your life, and it's all spoiler. If you really wouldn't necessarily want to play it after hearing us talk about it.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
I
I,
wouldn't
mean,
think.
And
I-
like you said, it's only 2 hours. It's not much of
Yeah.
a time commitment.
Yeah.
I was spoiled on it before playing, so I kind of I knew some things about the game
Uh-huh.
going into it that I'm sure like reduced the impact for me. So it is definitely a thing.
So,
So should we start with
It's a thing.
impressions overall? Initial impressions on the game, because I was
Okay.
a huge fan of this game. I think I played it in late 2013, like November, December, and I thought it was one of my favorite games of 2013.
Yeah.
I also played it just a little bit after the hype, but I don't think anything had been spoiled for me. But initial impressions, I thought it was really great. I thought it was lovely. I love story experience games. Like I put in quotations because it's really not like games.
there was a
Not
very
like-
light puzzling to it.
Right,
But yeah.
but like it's mostly just an experience, really, and I enjoy stuff like that. So I really liked this. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I thought it had great atmosphere. The voice acting, it was really good. The main female that speaks through most of it does her part exceptionally well, I thought. My only concern with the game, I thought, was it's really high price for the experience.
Yes.
But and there's not a lot of replayability, but as like a standalone kind of art
Yeah, it's like an art
experience
piece.
game. Yeah, it really is. It's like an art installation in terms of a video game.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think there's any replayability in that game.
There's
No,
almost
no.
none, yeah. But as that, I actually did enjoy it. It told a good story. It was an interesting way of storytelling where you had to actually work for it.
I thought you would hate this game. I'm really shocked
Why?
to hear you like
thought
it.
so too.
This seems like Meg and I were talking. Maybe we spoiled a little bit of our on-screen discussion, but it seems like it's a graphic novel, just told in a slightly different way. And
It
you
is.
hate graphic
Yeah.
I
think
don't
it is
hate
visual
graphic
novels.
visual novels.
I don't hate novels. I don't hate graphic novels. The problems I've had with visual novels tend to be pacing. And this one had a much faster pace. Like the story unfolded in a way that wasn't like, dear God, can we just get to the next point that matters?
See, I kind of disagree with that. I think
Yeah?
that if anything, it seemed like you were probably like there was more going on in the game because you were actively moving around in it.
That's true too, yeah.
A lot of times I found myself being like, oh God, just get me the next journal. I'm tired of, picking books up and turning them around and having nothing. Just add the next journal. That's what we're here for, right?
I felt like my drawback to the game was that I have siblings. I would never read half the crap I read about this girl. I would be like, I know there's like the one steamy note that she's like, maybe I shouldn't read this. I'm like, maybe you shouldn't read half the shit you're reading. Like, I'm creeped out.
I felt like a real creeper. I'm going through
Right.
like I'm fixing like my parents' bedroom drawers and being like, why you fucking slobs? I'm like fixing all that stuff, finding like condoms in their drawers.
Did you find your dad's
Going-
porn stash?
I found my sister's porn
Yeah, I
stash.
found the sister. That's in the locker, but your dad has a porn stash too.
Oh God! Just like a lot
found
of
out,
that
like, your
stuff, I was going
mom's
through being like,
affair.
I'm right. Like I'm
Potential
coming
affair.
home.
Yeah, that's
Don't
kind of
confirm
alluded
it.
to.
Yeah.
It's alluded to, but like, did you?
Mom
I mean,
needs
you
to
found
hide
like
her
the
shit better.
counseling,
Yeah.
the counseling pamphlet at the end. Like, it seemed like that narrative was pretty clear.
Well, I mean, you gotta assume too. Well, the whole setup to this was the premise is she comes home after being overseas.
No, she doesn't come home. She gone home.
She gone home. She done gone home. No one's there. Like she comes in the door. No one answered the phone call. No one is there in the house. So yeah, she's kind of rooting through things because where the fuck is
Yeah, they've
everybody?
been abducted.
And then there's a note on the door from her sister saying, "Don't look for me." That's the first thing you see.
Right, and that's I think one of the things I love most about the game was the fact that it was just one big head fake. Like you approach it kind of, and that's why I said if you haven't played the game, don't watch this video.
Yeah.
You approach it with all this baggage from other games that you've played, and you think you're getting into maybe like a mystery or a horror game because of other games you've played in the past, and then as it unfolds, you're like, oh no, it's just like a family issues game.
Yeah.
I think that works for it, and that works against it. Like, that's part of what I got spoiled on was that it kind of seems like a survival horror game. Come to empty house, family's missing, no idea where they are. Oh, look at this, lots of crazy thunder, and the entire house is dark, and so you develop that emotional baggage, and then it's like, oh, I guess I'm gonna read some journals. And about self-discovery,
You
which is, like for me, it kind of lowers the stakes from like I'm gonna survive a zombie apocalypse to like someone's going through some emotional shit
But
right
yeah,
now.
you really don't know that it's not like if it's not spoiled for you and you're playing it for the first time, you
But it
really don't
was,
know.
so,
I'm just saying,
you
if
know.
you're playing it and that you don't know that, then you don't know that it's not a horror game probably until the very end. You still like have questions the whole time.
I honestly, going into this, didn't know 100%. Like I knew the payoff at the end, which is that, basically, I'll go ahead and out that right now. Their sister turns out to be a lesbian and runs off with her lover. But I didn't know 100% if there was any kind of supernatural stuff to it. So there were several times going through the game where, and I don't know if they did this on purpose or not, but occasionally out of the corner of your eye, you'd catch a silhouette that looked like it might be something spooky, and it turned out to be something completely innocuous. But there were a few times, especially walking in the back secret passages where you come up a stairs and something looks almost like a profile, but it's just a pipe on the ceiling, where I got a little like, oh no, okay.
Yeah, the closest I got to that, I think, was a secret passage, and you go down the stairs, and you can turn on the light bulb, and then after a few seconds, it bursts.
Yeah,
That never happened to me.
I think
I
the
must have
door
missed that.
slams shut or something.
Oh, does it?
I think so. Yeah.
I noticed
Also
that, and
never
I was
happened to
like, fuck shortcuts, and I went back upstairs and around and into the library, like the other way.
Yeah.
Well, they really spent a lot of time developing the set as its own sort of character, the house of the psycho guy.
Right? Can we just talk about how that house was way too big for a family of 4?
It was huge. Well, they left it to him, or
it was
they
willed to them.
inherited it from a
Yeah.
pharmacist. Did you find out the pharmacist story?
No, I saw it
There's
was
a
the
safe.
uncle. I saw the safe, and he had some stuff in it, but I never figured out what it was that happened. Everyone said it's the psycho guy. It was a member of their family. He was isolated from his family before that for doing something. I never figured out what. And then he died somehow. But like there had to be more to that. Maybe I didn't find those scraps.
I think that was it. There was one note in the safe. Did you guys open the safe?
It was I didn't replay it for this. Like I
It
played it in
was-
2013.
And it was in cursive,
not
so it's a
remember.
little difficult to
It's
read. But
hard to read, but yeah, isn't it? It's like a letter to his sister or something
Yeah.
like that, where he's asking to be let back into the family, basically
Rings a
from
bell.
it sounds
some
like
event that is not to be named.
he calls it the transgression, I believe.
Yeah.
Which they
But
never.
if you call something a transgression, that's some fucked up shit.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
When you get that many letters,
The transgression of the capitals.
But
Sounds
no,
like a
they never really
historical
laid
period,
out.
and then they entered the transgression.
It was a transformative time.
Yeah.
When people learn things about their bodies.
Antebellum South.
They never explicitly say what it was. I mean, you make your own assumptions from it. And this game does that a lot. It's here's kind of a general outline, and then you draw from it what you want.
But again, it goes back to like you put your own baggage on this game, like your own preconceived notions. Like it's the fear comes from like within yourself. It's like everything you think might be going wrong is what you project and what you're afraid of, and it's like, oh no, it's nothing.
I ended up rooting around a lot more trying to find more information about the mom's affair. I'm pretty sure that's what it ended up being.
Wasn't it with like a park ranger or something?
Yeah.
Or- okay.
And then the dad's writing career.
Yeah.
Like there
Yeah,
were
he had
there was
the
sort of in
book.
addition to like the one that I always heard about was the girls, but I actually found theirs really interesting. So with the dads, like he wrote these books and they didn't sell that great, so his publisher dropped him, and then and he's like, obviously that's going to be a depressing thing. They refused to publish like the conclusion of his trilogy, and then years later someone comes to be like, no, we'd like to republish your work, and he gets that hope again, like maybe the third book's going to make it, and writes them a letter like, please consider this. It's like the rebirth of hope. I really like that. And mom was just like fucking around with the fucking park ranger, man.
Hey, she got a
even know.
promotion though. She was going to get to
I
work
thought she
closer
got,
to home.
but she got him a promotion first. Like first she got him like stationed there permanently, and then she gets a promotion, and then he's like, "Hey, you want to go to this game or concert or whatever?"
yeah.
And then
My girlfriend couldn't come. I got an extra ticket.
right.
Hey.
And then couples counseling.
Well, and then if I remember correctly, you have like an invitation to his wedding on the fridge.
Oh, I missed that.
The wedding is actually on the calendar. It's scratched out, and it's like can't go.
Like originally she was gonna go, then the husband found out she was sleeping with him at some point, and now he's like,
There's a giant cockroach right there, by the
"Well,
way.
really?
Yeah, it just walked under the stage.
It's fine. It's under the stage.
It didn't want to
Until
hear any
it's
more
summoned.
spoilers about
Okay.
the
We're
game.
good.
This is off track. I had a dream that a cockroach was following me, and I think it was because of our contagion let's play. But I was like, if I see a cockroach today, it's a sign that it was in my dream. A
There
sign.
you go.
Or
A
it's
sign,
Or
guys.
it's a sign that it's flooding
It's
outside
coming
and they're
for
all
you.
headed
That's
in.
very true. We've evacuated this area. I want to talk about something that's really interesting about this game that doesn't happen in a lot of other games, that it popped up in other games. Like The Walking Dead had the Christmas duck from this game.
The Walking Dead had what?
The Christmas
Duck, the one from the
It
front
did?
porch.
Yeah, in the episode where I can't tell you what happens, there's a Christmas decorating portion in season 2. Clementine comes across a Christmas duck.
I totally missed that. I want to go back and look at that.
But then I also gross.
The cockroach has been eliminated. Jesus Christ, he took it out with a
Transgressions have
2x4.
been performed upon that cockroach.
That was harsh. That was like an orbital strike for that thing.
But it was in The Walking Dead, and also this is totally me putting my own baggage on it. But PT, I was like, this is what I thought Gone Home. It was like Gone Home
Right,
got
yeah.
dark with PT a little bit.
Yeah, exploring the strange
Yeah,
house,
exactly.
not knowing
Strange
what's going
house.
on.
Little like journal entries. Oh, I didn't mean to. Picture die. Ugh.
We should probably address the main thrust of the story. We've talked around it and everything here, but so you come home, your entire family's gone. The story really revolves around your sister and her relationship with a girl named Lonnie, and sort of to a lesser degree her relationship with Danny, I suppose, the former
dude.
friend,
The Nintendo.
the Nintendo guy,
Yeah.
who's really sweet. But the Danny is also sort of the inception of her writing career because
Right.
it's that
'Cause
was.
I actually found that like one of the more interesting storytelling aspects was her writing stuff
And
how
how-
that changed.
Like she has this, her in this fantasy world, she's the captain. Well, actually, later on when they cosplay it, I think she's the first mate, not the captain. But between her and Lonnie, and they have this. She writes this whole story where there's the captain, the first mate, and they're in love, and eventually, the first mate falls into a special vat.
Gets captured by Amazonians,
Yes.
I believe,
Correct.
and then put into a vat and turned into a woman.
And is transformed into a woman, but their love continues.
Right.
So there's a lot of really interesting play with that, not just in the direct story of her relationship with Lonnie and how that evolves, but in how that affects her writing and things like that.
You know, I think that a lot of this game, a lot about the writing and even the perspective. It's not your typical game. It's told, from a different perspective. It's a different kind of storytelling. I think that this game is the reason I was so excited for Life is Strange. And I was hoping that Life is Strange would
yeah.
be almost like, again, a different perspective, a different kind of game. Life is Strange didn't quite live up as high to the high hopes I had for it. It's still a fine game, but I feel like if I hadn't played Gone Home, I wouldn't have been as excited to try this other game.
Interesting.
I think the main issue I had with Gone Home, and I was talking to Bernie about this, so but I knew about it even before I played, so it probably colored my experience playing it. Is I actually felt like Sam, your sister who is going through this transformation or discovery, I guess.
Discovery.
Yeah.
Self-discovery.
She says at one point she knew all along.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Is that it felt almost like that. Like there wasn't much about her that you ever learned aside from that, and I felt like it almost did a disservice to the complexity of people to have that. I felt like if there was a game that did that better, it was probably the Left Behind DLC for The Last of Us, where it's part of you as it's part of her as a person, but doesn't doesn't define her.
Yeah, the counter argument might
entirely
be that with
experience.
Left Behind you had more time to develop character, whereas Gone Home is simply like 2 hours. Like we can't make someone read too much.
Yeah.
Maybe, but it's like the whole game was about like finding scraps of people's lives. There would be other scraps, like other stuff that they that they were really interested in or liked doing, to really fill that out. I would have liked to see more
liked
of
Nintendo.
I
her
would
as a
argue
person.
that, yeah, she liked Nintendo. She had that whole subplot with Danny. She had her creative writings.
But she also didn't she just borrow the Nintendo to try to impress the upperclassmen that ended up kicking her butt at Street
No,
Fighter?
she
Nintendo
said that
predates that, yeah.
she was only friends with Danny initially when they were younger because she liked
Yeah.
his Nintendo collection.
That's true. Although isn't that all of us?
That is really good, yeah.
We've all got that neighbor. It's like we hate him, but he's got a lot of games. So overall, I mean, I really would recommend people play it. Although if you're watching this, I'm sure you already played it.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's a worthy experience, but I think that I got through it in about 2 hours.
Get it on a
It's $20.
sale.
It's $20.
Yeah.
Don't pay full price for it.
It is. that's
I don't think it's a, $10 1 hour game. There are games that I would make that leap for, but this probably isn't one of
At
them.
most, I'd pay maybe $10 for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. That's still
still on the
a
high
lot
end. Yeah.
for that experience.
But I think it's done well,
Yeah.
which is why I would do
And
that.
also realize that it's not a game. There's no gameplay as such. It's a lot of reading. It's a lot of exploration. I really do think of it as a visual novel that you move around in.
I had never thought of it until you said that. I'm sorry. But
No, and I think, but I thought it had more of a gameplay feeling than something like Cat Lady, to me.
Okay.
Where
Yeah.
I felt like Cat Lady was just like feeding me information. I felt like Gone Home allowed me to discover the information. I don't know. I felt more of
That's
personally
true,
involved.
although I would argue that Cat Lady it like has more like you can take it off in different branches. Like there are different things that can happen that then affect the story.
That's true.
In this, you're
That's
not
it.
affecting the story.
Yeah.
You're just discovering the
Very
story.
true.
And that's kind of where I get a lot of that visual novel stuff from. Is the experience is going to be largely the same for everyone.
Yeah.
All right, should we
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
pick it.
roll our
Let's
roll our
let's
game
find
out?
the new game.
Okay.
Let's,
Cylinder of
summon-
selection.
Dun, 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 dun,
Summon-
I
dun.
thought we were getting like a sound for this. Is
we
there music?
we put the sound in afterwards.
Oh, do we? Okay.
Oh, help it out,
It's
Meg.
really
Okay, there you go.
impressive. We got,
Yay.
we
Is
got
it all
like smoke
majestic?
effects. Watch this. Yeah.
There's your sound.
We need like it's like an organ grinder. We need like a monkey like dancing with a little hat or something.
Oh, sweet.
What is it?
All right.
This is a community suggestion, and it's Crypt of the Necro Dancer.
Crypt
All
of the
right.
Necro
have,
Dancer. Wow.
For you guys, I have the 2 custom pads that the company made in my house, so bring them
Pads?
in. They
Wait.
made their dance pads. It's played on
You
a
actually
DDR
played on a
dance
dance
pad.
pad?
Yeah, it's played on
Huh?
a DDR dance pad. I don't know how the community is going to play this game because you need a DDR
No,
dance
you don't.
pad.
Do you? You can play with a regular
No, you don't.
controller.
Yeah, okay, but it is designed to be played.
It's
That's
all
why
right,
it's called
Meg.
Necro
No, it's all right.
Dancer.
I guess we're gonna film an RT Life with that as well
Yeah.
too. Then.
All right.
Well,
That's
thanks for
gonna be
watching,
fun.
everyone.
Yeah,
That's gonna be tough to stream.
enjoy.